Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help. And King of Floors, your vinyl, laminate, and engineered flooring superstore.
Craig Button coming up, TSN Scouting Director. All of our guests today sponsored by Skipper Auto, supporting Canadian fishing families through a revolutionary seafood buying experience. Check them out online at skipperauto.com. As is often the case on this show, some people thinking that I'm past it. Okay, when I mentioned Uncle Ben's beer, somebody texting
You're going way back.
Texting in that, hey, Don, it's Uncle Ben's rice, which I don't think they make anymore for politically incorrect reasons or politically correct reasons. Yeah. But there was an Uncle Ben's beer back in the day. I believe the gentleman's name was Ben Ginter, and he used to make this cheap beer, I believe in Prince George, called Uncle Ben's. Yeah. And he is considered the godfather of craft breweries, which are exploding around these parts.
But it's not around
BC.
It's not around anymore.
It's not around anymore. Okay. But you can look it up. You can Google it up. Uncle Ben's beer.
All right.
I'm sure Craig's fascinated by that. We're joined now by TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. How are you, sir?
I am good. How are you guys? I'm fascinated by craft beer. So, with whatever is, we think about, where we're at today in today's world, but everything got to this point because of some seed that was planted. So
there
Uncle Ben's beer, might have been one of the original craft beers. And, that's how we developed. And you know what? It's one of those things that not only is it a seed that sprouts, it gives other people reason to plant those seeds.
So you are interested. I was wrong. Thanks for this, Craig. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I am interested. Because, Donnie, I hear it all the time. I hear things like, Button, you're a dinosaur. Button, get out. You don't know what the hell is going on.
Oh, we get it too, Craig. We're dinosaurs too.
You're young, Rick.
No, you have no idea.
So are you, Craig. 8-0 Lightning over the Islanders, Craig. Where did that result come from?
I don't know. Well, here's what I would say. You think about the second period in Game 4, Donnie and Rick, and, Don Cooper after the game said, sometimes you lay an egg, and we laid a big egg in that second period, and, they fell behind. They were terrific in the third period, and, only a Ryan Pulock block save, whatever you want to call it, saved that game from being tied up late. And I think Tampa Bay picked up right from where they left off in Game 4 in that third period. And, the New York Islanders just never were able to get anywhere near the pace, the intensity that the Tampa Bay Lightning started with in Game 5. And, it's one of those things when it starts to snowball against you, it's like the Tampa Bay Lightning are going downhill, and all you see is this wave upon wave coming at you. And, I think people ask about an 8-0 loss. What does it mean? It's loss because it was a chance to take control of the series. Now you got to beat a really good team 2 in a row, and I think that becomes really difficult for the New York Islanders to do that. And this is this Tampa Bay Lightning team. Getting the 2 goals from Cologne, getting the 2 goals from Stamkos. They spread it out, and they seem to be able to spread it out at the right times, and that's what makes them so formidable.
I'm not sure where it came from because he's not that type of player, but Matthew Barzell, should he be suspended?
I don't think so. I mean, there's 2 parts that I go with. So the first part is my own personal desire. I want these plays out of the game. I don't want headshots. I don't accidental or whatever. I think we got to slow the game down in certain areas. And frustration and emotion is not a appropriate response. So that's what I would suggest that happened with Matt. I just think that you want to send a message. 8 games to Kadri, 4 games to Scheifele. Suspend Andre Palat for that hit at the end of the Carolina series on Brett Pesce for 1 game. Suspend Matt Barzell for 1 game. That's my own belief. But based on the rule book and based on, the Department of Player Safety, he came with the first cross check, and then the second one rode up. He didn't it came up off the top of the chest into the jaw, jaw area. And, does he deserve a fine? Yes. If it was me and I had the full opportunity, I would suspend him. But I don't think he will be suspended based on, the stick riding up.
Craig, the Sedin twins will be announced in Vancouver tomorrow as part of management. Rick Nash and Derek Dorsett last week in Columbus, players getting involved after their careers. But that step into management, Craig, it's not easy. It's tough. And so what kind of patience do you think we should have and the fans here in Vancouver with the Sedin twins as they try to get into their roles?
Probably the same patience that the Vancouver Canucks fans had when they came into the league. Is very highly touted players. The second and third overall picks in that draft. When you're a young player, and the Sedins, Daniel and Henrik, they had trained their whole lives. They only knew playing hockey, and they did it exceptionally well. So even when you have those growing pains coming into the NHL, you have this tremendous background of being able to play and develop and going through the different challenges and cycles of that development. Well, management isn't playing. Coaching isn't playing. Yes, you can draw on your experiences, but now this is, again, it's a whole new path. And, finding, I think there's three things you got to find as when you move into management from a playing point of view. Okay, understanding, number one, what you can control and what you can't control, because it's very different. As a player, you can go out there and make a difference. That's number one. Number two, understanding what area of the game you want to be involved in. Do you want to be involved in management? Do you want to be involved in coaching? Do you want to be involved in development? Rick Nash, who's coming on the show after me, I mean, he's on a development path, but I think development is an important part of management. Coaching is very different. And then number three, listening and learning and hearing the voices of other people, because there's a lot of things that even as a player and being involved in it and as successful as Daniel and Henrik were as players, hearing different things, going, oh, geez, I never thought about that, or geez, that's a good point. Oh, that's something that goes in, and then applying all those things. And I think for Daniel and Henrik, they're smart people. I don't think there's any question. They're passionate about the Vancouver Canucks, and you got to be patient with them and help them along. But I think when you have players of the ilk and of the intelligence of Daniel and Henrik that want to get involved, it can only be positive. But let them grow and let them develop. And the best example I can give you is Steve Yzerman. He retired in 2006. He was the manager of the Olympic team in 2010 that won gold in Vancouver. And he was ready to take on the role as general manager of the Tampa Bay Lightning. But, as good as he was and as good as the Sedins were as players, it takes some time to really get comfortable in this new role.
Craig, let's go to Vegas, Montreal. Brendan Gallagher says all the pressure is on Vegas. He was quoted as saying that. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Geez, I feel like all the pressure is on me now to answer that question. I'm just feeling
always.
Yeah. It's always funny how players, and I say this with the greatest respect, how they love to play some players and teams. Oh, we love being the underdog. Oh, boy, the pressure's on them. Listen, you're trying to win the next game. And so I would say right now that the Montreal Canadiens have won 10 games in the playoffs. The Vegas Golden Knights have won 10 games. They're trying to win the 11th. I don't know who the pressure's on more. I mean, the Montreal Canadiens, were up against it, down 3-1 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. There was no pressure on the Toronto Maple Leafs. There was pressure on Montreal to survive. They did 2 overtime wins. Then the pressure shifted a little bit to Toronto in that Game 7 at home, and certainly the pressure was still on Montreal. You know what? You want to take a hold of the series, and whoever wins tonight is going to be able to do that in a significant way. So it's an opportunity. When a team now is down 3-2 and somebody will be in that position after tonight, then the pressure's on, and whether that's Montreal or Vegas. But I look at it as more, this is an opportunity for one of these two teams to take a stranglehold on the series.
Craig, before we let you go, are you as upset with the NHL officiating in these playoffs as everybody else seems to be?
I think we can take different aspects. Listen, games 3 and 4, I think was really subpar officiating. And, maybe as soon as next week, I can get into a little bit of a deeper dive.
Okay.
Yeah. And what I'll say to that is the NHL has a systemic problem with officiating that emanates, that's been around for 70-plus years, that's created an environment and a climate that becomes tolerant of certain things being officiated in a certain manner. And to me, it's unacceptable. And to blame the officials, I think you can look at Dan O'Rourke and Chris Lee and said it wasn't very good. But the referees don't wake up in the morning and say, okay, here's how we're going to call tonight's game. They're instructed how to call the game. And it's the managers and owners that have a huge part in this. And it's been going on for 70 years. Happy to get into it with you next week on a longer thing of it. But the NHL has a systemic problem with respect to how they want the game called. The officials end up being the piñata, and everybody wants to take a swing at them. But to me, if you want to fix the problem, it's got to start way higher than the officials on the ice.
Okay, Ryan, remind me. We'll bring this up with Craig next week. All the best, Craig. We're sending out a case of Uncle Ben's beer, and enjoy it. Appreciate it.
I will enjoy it. You count on it.
Thanks, Craig. All the best. Thanks so much. Craig Button, TSN.